The footage of crashes, mishaps, and accidents within this video is presented strictly for educational and informational purposes to illustrate crucial lessons in RV safety, responsible road practices, and personal preparedness.
Coming at you fast like a freight train ride. Another crazy, stupid RV design. Smoking sparks, no fear, no mild. Buckle up, it's RVs Gone Wild.
Hey everyone, we got some RVs Gone Wild number 6. Rocking my off-road wrecker game shirt today. Let's just jump right on it and start looking at some crazy RVs. I want to thank Melissa W. for sending me this one. This was spotted in Quartzsite, Arizona, which is one of the RV capitals of the world. And this one had basically no sides, or really it had plexiglass sides. So this is clearly some kind of exhibitionist. I don't know if I'd want to camp in the middle of the desert in a glass RV, especially when it gets warm. This thing is going to bake in the sun. I'm not quite sure how they ventilate it, but thanks Melissa for sending this to me. That is one weird looking RV. Okay, let's talk about the Atomic Camper. This is a real sweet looking little rig. I was impressed with this rig. It's a cool little design. It reminded me of Marvin the Martian from the old Warner Brothers days.
I've got to get back to the Earth.
The Earth? Oh, the Earth will be gone in just a few seconds.
It's like this cute little Hobbit trailer inside. I imagine, this isn't for really large people, but it's definitely a cozy little rig, and I was really impressed with the workmanship, the craftsmanship, and design of this particular trailer. So good job. I ran across this article for this crazy incident in Alberta, Canada here, where they stopped this guy from towing because he had such a dangerous rig. Now take a look at the size of this trailer. I'm not sure if this is a mobile home or a construction trailer, but this is way too much of a load for this vehicle to be taking and doing it in such an unsafe manner.
When you're visiting the Great White North of Canada, you got your can of do's and you got your can of don'ts.
For starters, sheriffs say the load exceeded the tire's weight rating by over 3,000 kilos, or over 6,000 pounds, so obviously this thing could have a blowout. Another thing to note is the trailer didn't even have a locking mechanism on it, which meant that if this thing bounced too hard, it would have bounced right off. It was just the weight of the trailer, the tongue weight, keeping that thing on the ball. Apparently the driver also had expired registration, and in the end he had to spend over $2,800 in American dollars, or 3,800 Canadian dollars in fines because of this incident. Now, a trailer like that should be towed with a professional large truck like this Kodiak. I want to thank Brian R. for sending me this picture. The Kodiak is basically an oversized Chevy truck that can handle commercial large loads. In this case, it's towing a 1953 Spartan Imperial that's 10 feet wide and 43 feet long, so you've got to get a wide load permit just to move this thing around in most places in the States. Thanks, Brian, for sending me this one. All right, you've heard me talk about it before. Turducken. I've explained turducken in a previous video right here. Turducken is when you take a chicken and you cook it inside a duck, and you cook that duck inside a turkey. So you've got a chicken inside a duck inside a turkey called a turducken. It tastes awesome. However, it's not necessarily the best model for towing. This first one has an old trailer embedded inside a converted school bus. Now, this is actually a really smart idea if you want to build out your schoolie and you don't want to have to build all that infrastructure. Just take a trailer that already has all the infrastructure, cut out your schoolie, and just drop the trailer right in there. It's both scary and genius. And here we've got this Ford dually with, it seems like half of a camper shell with another camper shell on top or embedded inside. This was actually sent to me by Will I Am, not the performer, and I asked him actually in an email to tell me more about, is this thing actually sitting on top or is it bedded inside? Haven't heard back from him, so if you see this, Will, go ahead and comment in this video as to what the heck we're looking at here, because it looks to me that you basically got a camper shell inside a camper shell in the back of a truck. That's turducken enough for me. Not only that, but because this thing is being held together properly by a series of ratchet traps, that means this thing ain't going nowhere. It's going to get the RVing with Joe Tip of the Hat Gold Star Award for craziest Ford in this video. I don't know what this guy was thinking. Again, Will, if you get a chance, comment below. Where did you see this, or what more do you know about this truck? Of course, those are some top-heavy custom turduckens, but you've got that traditional turducken I keep seeing a lot of pics of. You've got this Class A towing a flat car, towing a jet ski, and they even got a little cherry on top with that surfboard. Or this one is even cooler. You got a Class A towing a pickup truck, towing a massive grill smoker. That's the way I'd like to roll. Wherever this guy's going, I want to camp next to him, and I'll be ready when he pulls the meat off that big old barbecue. Heck, carrying that barbecue is one of the best uses of a tow vehicle I've seen so far. Now I want some barbecue. And of course, turducken's kind of defined by how many wheels are on top of how many wheels. So you got this pickup truck carrying a big old fifth wheel trailer, and then behind it you got a flat tow with like some kind of side-by-side, and then an ATV behind it. That's a whole lot of wheels rolling down the road. That's a good recipe for turducken right there. And another example of lots of wheels. This time they're carrying a couple of choppers in the back. So you got a whole lot of wheels rolling down the road on this one with this motorcycle turducken. And although this isn't an RV, here you got a truck with 3 trailers behind it getting towed by this massive wrecker. Looking at that, you got like 100 feet of pure semi-turducken. Now let's talk about Mexican turducken. If you're anywhere in California or Texas or some of the southern border states, you'll often see where Mexican nationals will come across the border legally. They'll come across with their truck, and then they'll pick up scrap vehicles and bring them back to Mexico. Now, whether they're going to bring them back to fix them up or bring them back to scrap them, they're just taking salvage vehicles out of the junkyards and moving them down into Mexico. In fact, Mexico's not too happy with all the junkyard they're bringing in. But in the process, they create these sometimes custom welded or custom collected flat tow setups, which are not exactly legal, but I have a feeling the highway patrols in these various states just want to see these guys and these vehicles leave the state as fast as they can. And so they often get away with driving down the road without getting pulled over. And really, they're usually doing barely the speed limit in the right lane. For those of you who don't know, in California, all the trucks and anything towing's got to be 55 miles per hour. I think it's a stupid idea. It makes things really dangerous when you got half the traffic going 20 miles an hour faster than the other half. But nonetheless, back to the point. These guys are often towing in the right lane, and you see them, they'll usually put like an in-tow sign, and when you realize these 3 or 4 cars in front of you are all just being towed by one car. And that's Mexican turducken. Now I want tacos. Alright, I'm wearing Matt's off-road wrecker shirt today, so let's look at this off-road vehicle. It's actually an 8x8. The company can sell these for different uses. The one you're seeing here was actually deployed in the Middle East, and it was used for a whole bunch of electronics on board to do some kind of race where this was sort of like the TV truck or something. But just the idea of not only having this 8x8, but also having those extra pair of wheels in the back. So if you're really cranking up a hill and you've got that departure angle problem, those back wheels are there to just take you on up. And something like that would never have a problem like this, where you just got like a simple Class C stuck in the snow. You know, that kind of thing. A lot of RVs just aren't up for the challenge. But this guy was up for the challenge. Watch this Dodge pickup take this big old rig through this mud. He had to roll a lot of coal to get it out of there. But he got it out. Unlike the Ford that followed him, which gave it the old college try, but didn't quite make it. I imagine this is a matter of tires and some other factors. But this guy didn't quite make it, so he needed someone else to help get him out. Sometimes it takes 2 pickup trucks to get out of the mud. And this guy wanted to see what his Unimog could do.
Let's test out how capable my Unimog is.
He took the Unimog into the bog, and it didn't do so well. I mean, that's quite a lot of water and liquid to get through, but that's a lot of weight. And even when you got a big old machine like that, you're still going to get stuck, and that's why you have a winch and some straps. I'm guessing this is over in Europe. I'm not quite sure. It does look like one badass rig, though. Then you got this moron who decides to take his truck and his trailer out to this mud flats and thinks that it's going to actually perform well. Well, guess what? It doesn't. And you know what? You know who that moron is? This guy. And what do? The stupidest fucking thing ever. Luckily, we had a lot of good community members out here helping me out. Including this guy in the Toyota has a way better handle on his mud and dirt handling here in Australia. He's got this great off-road rig. Australia has some of the best off-road trailers out there. And this also shows the value of having 2 axles versus 1. I did buy a trailer with 1 axle, and that's because I really wanted to have the nimbleness in the woods when I'm going to these tiny little RV spots here in Canada. But when you have 2 axles, you can handle these bumps a lot better. If my trailer was going across this, it'd be wiggling back and forth, back and forth. When it comes to off-roading, Subarus are the honey badger of off-roading. These things go anywhere. Wherever I go in BC, no matter how remote I get, I always see these damn Subaru Outbacks out there with me. If you don't know what I mean by honey badger, here.
Now watch this. Look, a snake's up in the tree. Honey badger don't care. Honey badger don't give a shit. It just takes what it wants. But look, The honey badger doesn't care. It's getting stung like 1,000 times. It doesn't give a shit. It's hungry. It doesn't watch it dig. Look at that digging. The honey badger is really pretty badass.
And not only can they tow off-road, but these things can actually tow you down the road.
It's a Subaru.
The honey badger is really pretty badass.
I want to thank Core V for suggesting I Google Kermis Woonwagen, which translates to carnival caravan, basically. In the Netherlands, there are these Dutch trailers that they use for the carnivals, but they're a really interesting different type. They come as RVs in different styles, and you'll notice that the wheels are actually at the ends, almost like wagons, like traditional wagons. It feels like you could almost strap a couple of horses to the front of these things. And then the front, the wheels are actually on a swivel. So it's almost like when you have a fifth wheel on one of those dollies, and then the dolly can pivot back and forth. It's a very interesting setup. It makes for some very interesting trailers, and here's just a few of the pictures that I could find. Again, I want to thank Cora for sending me the idea of looking these up, and I'll keep my eyes out for some more of these crazy Kermis Woonwagens. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. And like I mentioned, those Dutch ones had this front fifth wheel pivot point, and it's very similar to when you see these dollies, which a few videos ago I didn't even know about, but then a lot of my viewers educated me that these dollies are actually out there for general use. I think a lot of the companies have come and gone that make them, but the whole idea is with the regular bumper pull, you can carry a fifth wheel. But I gotta ask, why would you install one of these if you just had a regular pull trailer? What value does this middle dolly add if you're carrying just a regular old trailer? And then it occurred to me, there are a few different ways, of course, to hitch and dolly up. I found this really old Popular Science article, and it talked about the different types of ways to connect. It talks about the spring bars, or what we now call weight distribution bars. They actually quote the Reese models here. They got this weird one called a Golden Robot, which I've never heard of, but then you have this Watson trailer dolly. So apparently the whole idea behind a trailer dolly isn't just that it can carry a fifth wheel, but it can actually take the load off of the back axle and put it onto another set of wheels. I'm a big stickler for sticking within the weight specifications of a truck, so I don't know how much I would want to add weight to my truck with one of these devices. And I'm not even sure if they're legal, but it's the first time I've ever seen them. So if anybody uses one of these types of trailer dolly devices, I'd love to hear from you. What's a good use case for these where you've used them? Please comment below. Let me know if you've ever seen these out in the open road. And I want to thank Dave H., who did his own DIY project here. Like I said in my previous video, if you don't like the way they're building them, you can always build yourself. He took a 2007 Jayco that was in really good shape, where it didn't have any water problems or any damage, and just gutted the heck out of it, and then completely rebuilt the inside to his own specs and to his own desire. Not a bad way to go. Another plus when you build it yourself, it's a lot easier to fix things when you've built them from scratch. You know where every wire is laid, you know where every circuit is, and there's no mysteries aside your trailer. And I want to thank RV Arnie Lee 84. You can check him out on YouTube. He sent me this photo. And what always stands out to me about these Class C's and other kind of van-like chassis is when they've got two sets of axles on the back. That's really got to be able to handle a lot of weight. I bet you could even tow a lot with this one. You can tell me, Arnie, are those both drive wheels, or is just one of them drive wheels? Also, if you check out Arnie's channel, and Arnie, you can comment below. It looks like to me, are you a carnival worker? That looks like a cool job. I couldn't quite tell, but I saw some carnival stuff there. So let me know. Just like Arnie and the others sent me photos, you can actually send me email at rvingwithjoe@gmail.com. Send me any cool pics or videos or links that you think are cool related to RVing. Just send me whatever you got. You know, not everything makes it on here, but I really appreciate it. We just got past 5,000 subscribers, and I'm shooting for 10,000 subscribers next. Help me out. Just click the button right now. Just click the button. And of course, check out these other videos. You got one to the left, one down there in the corner, and one right below me. Check them out. They're all worth watching. See you next time on RVs Gone Wild.